Welcome back to the deep dive. You guys wanted it. So today we are diving deep into friendship.
Ooh, fun.
We're going to be looking at this one podcast episode that we found
Okay.
that is just full of all these personal stories and expert opinions on how friendships evolve
Mm-hmm.
and like what really makes a true connection.
Right.
You know?
It's so important.
It is.
It's
Yeah.
it's something that we think about a lot.
Yeah.
All the time.
And it really like impacts every part of our lives.
Absolutely. And even like our well-being too.
Yes.
It's so interesting.
The podcast talked about how, like, actually strong friendships can help people cope with, like, grief and loss better.
Wow.
And there are even studies
Really?
that they talked about where people with, like, solid friend groups actually have lower cortisol levels when they're stressed.
Oh, that makes sense.
So it's, like, literally sharing the burden, you know?
Wow, that's amazing.
Isn't that cool?
Yeah.
But the podcast also talks about those friendships that, like, maybe aren't quite as
Right.
ride or die.
Yeah, the ones that
Like those sometimes disappointing ones.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You think you're close. And then
Totally.
Like,
They
'cause-
define true friendship as, like,
okay.
mutual trust, respect, support, honesty, understanding, and, like, genuine care.
It's a lot.
It's a high bar.
It is.
Right.
Yeah.
And they share this one story about a guy named Michael who
Okay.
he talks about these friends that, like, all acted close,
Mm-hmm.
but when he really needed them,
Yeah.
they disappeared.
Oh, wow.
So it's like actions speak louder than words,
Big time.
for sure.
Yeah.
And then they talk about Victoria
Okay.
and her experience with her school friends
Okay.
and how they kind of changed over time.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. And some got stronger and some just naturally faded.
Yeah.
It's so relatable.
I think everyone's been there.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
Like you just
Things change.
drift apart sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. It makes sense.
Yeah. And she even mentions this one friend where like the friend's negativity started to actually like
Yeah.
affect their friendship.
That's hard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's like even chosen families have drama,
Right.
right?
It's true. Because it's like that saying, friends are the family you choose,
Right.
but it
Yeah.
can be tricky.
It is.
But what I thought was interesting is like Victoria
Yeah.
didn't try to force things.
Okay.
It seemed like she understood that like
Yeah.
friendship can change,
Yeah.
you know?
It's true. People evolve
Like,
in different directions.
yeah. And sometimes they grow in different directions. And that's
That's okay.
totally okay.
Yeah. It's all right.
And she found peace and happiness within herself.
Good for her.
Right.
Yeah. You know what I mean?
Even with these shifts in her friendships,
Yeah.
which I think is a key takeaway, like
It is.
friendships can enrich our lives,
Yeah.
but ultimately well-being has to come from
With yes.
yourself.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That balance is so important.
Absolutely.
But how do you even know who
Right.
like the true connections are?
Exactly.
So the podcast actually gives tips.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Like what?
Like consistent support,
Okay.
honesty,
Yeah.
respect for boundaries, and like genuine happiness for your successes.
Those are good ones.
Yeah, they're good, right?
Yeah.
And they said like these friendships
Yeah.
usually develop organically
Right.
from like shared experiences and mutual respect.
Which makes sense.
Makes total sense. Yeah. Makes you think about your own friends.
Yeah, for sure.
Like, have you ever had to figure that out?
All the time.
Yeah.
Like it can be hard.
it can be.
You know, to know for sure.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
And like sometimes those close bonds, they just like
Fray.
they fray or even like break.
Totally.
Yeah.
Like Victoria and her school best friend, Sarah,
Oh yeah, what happened?
they were like inseparable.
Like the podcast actually defines that word later,
Okay.
but they ended up drifting apart, which is another good takeaway.
Yeah.
Not every friendship is meant to last forever.
Yeah.
You have to force these things,
Yeah. And it's natural to feel sad when it
Okay.
happens.
for sure.
But the podcast also talks about how your strong friendships can help you through those times.
That's nice.
So it's like you don't have to go through those like tough feelings alone.
Right, exactly.
You got people there for you.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And they talk about this word inconvenient
Oh, interesting.
and like how true friends will be there even if it's inconvenient for them.
Right. Like it's going to mess up their plans or something.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And like true friendship often involves
Sacrifice.
Yeah.
For sure.
Like putting your own stuff aside to be there for someone.
Totally.
So it all comes back to like knowing yourself.
Right.
And like the podcast said, when you're pursuing your passions, you're going to attract like-minded people.
Oh, that's true.
Right.
Makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah.
Who could become your real friends?
Yeah. You're putting out the right energy.
Yeah,
Just
exactly.
putting it out there.
You're like putting yourself out there.
Yeah.
But even with all this advice,
Yeah.
friendship can still be tricky.
Oh, for sure. It's messy.
Yeah.
That's a lot.
It is a lot.
Yeah.
And like they say, there's no magic formula
Of course not.
for perfect friendship
Or no,
because they don't exist.
because they don't exist.
But I loved how they introduced all these like vocabulary words
Oh, yeah.
for friendship.
I like that.
Like they're giving us the tools
That's cool.
to like talk about it better.
You're right.
You know?
Yeah, I like that a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like giving us more ways to understand it.
Right. And it made me think of something.
Oh, yeah.
If you could ask Victoria
Okay.
or like any of the people on the podcast one question
Okay.
about their friendship experiences,
Mm-hmm.
what would it be? Ooh, that's a good one.
Right. It really makes you think
It does.
about
Yeah.
what's important.
Yeah. What would I ask? Maybe like how to deal with conflict,
Ooh, that's a good one.
or like how to know when to let go of a friendship
Yeah.
that isn't working anymore.
Right. Or even
Yeah.
like how to make new friends as an adult.
Oh, that's a big one.
I feel like that's something we
Yeah.
all struggle with.
It's hard.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, how do you do that?
Yeah. Or how to keep up those long distance friendships.
Yeah.
That's hard too.
For sure.
Oh, man. So many things to think about.
It's like a lifelong journey.
It really is.
Like, as we grow,
Yeah.
our friendships change.
Yeah, they
It's
do.
always changing.
Well, this has been
Yeah.
such a fascinating look at friendship.
I know, it's so
I
interesting.
hope everyone listening found it interesting
I think so.
and like thought-provoking.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So remember,
Mm-hmm.
like, cherish your true friends. Be there for them.
Absolutely.
And be open to growing and learning.
Always.
Yeah.
So important.
Until next time,
Yes.
keep diving deep.
Hi.